guys? What's up? My name is Joe Ignace. I'm your host of the Knowledge Gap podcast and YouTube channel. Welcome, everyone. Nick Williams. What's up, Nick?
What's up, Joe?
Nick is the new co-host of the Knowledge Gap. He's going to be on here all the time. We're having fun together. He's going to bring a comedic effect to this because he is homeschooled.
Whoa, that's
sorry. Left field. Didn't expect that. I told him I was going to say that. So he said not to, but I did it anyway. All right, sweet. So on today's episode, what we're going to be talking about is how a lot of people limit their potential by living in the past. That's like the self-destructive habit that a lot of people, live into, and it affects your self-esteem, and your confidence affects how you believe in what's possible. And then we're going to have really cool added value about how to overcome that, basically. So basically how to break belief barriers, and you basically answering the question of why do we limit ourselves? How's that psychology kind of go? I've been listening to you guys a lot. I've been putting in some different, posts in there to see what kind of content you guys like. And it seems like people really want to hear more about like mindset, leadership, success principles versus financial literacy. So we're not talking about money at all today. It is 100% mindset. And I totally believe in that. Attitude is everything. How you see the world will determine how you feel about yourself and what's possible. If you believe you can do something, you're totally right. And if you believe you can't, you're also totally right. So let's jump in. All right, sweet. So just looking up some statistics here, I was watching this TED Talk this morning, and on this TED Talk, it was about how your future self, we're going to talk about that later, actually. But anyway, this was all sparked by a TED Talk that I was listening to this morning. It got me thinking about, belief barriers, and that's something I used to talk about when we were doing our door-to-door sales job. Nick is also a crazy person and has done this door-to-door job and kind of understands the psychological battle of doing something extremely hard, like an extreme sport where most people quit. There's like a huge percentage of people will quit that. So if you can, obviously, if you go through it, you'll gain some things that and perspectives that people don't have. But when we were looking things up, we were looking up self-esteem, and from grcounseling.com, it's a counseling website, they claim that 85% of the world's population are affected by low self-esteem.
Wow. It's not even half. It's not even what you could say more than half.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. So 15%. So the likelihood, if you're watching this, is you are more likely to have self-esteem, issues than not by a lot, right? So we all kind of struggle with those different things, Growing up, I was like the shyest kid ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, why does that happen? Well, what we find is the self-destructive habit that most people do seems to be, living in the past. They, base their confidence on how they have previously done on things. And that is really self-destructive. It's not going to get you anywhere, because when you first do something, right? Think of any time you've tried something new. Are you ever going to be good or as good as you could possibly be the first time you try something?
Definitely not.
Definitely not, right? So if you try something and then you're like, oh, I'm not good at it, and then you base your confidence on that first try, you're kind of lying to yourself. Like, you don't realize it. But we get embarrassed usually is what happens, right?
Yeah.
There's an emotional short-term feeling that happens, and then you just don't want to keep trying because of that, usually the social aspect of embarrassment.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to be the same field. Like if you, like you said before, you try for soccer and you don't do good at soccer, and then you may try one other thing like roller skating, you don't do good at roller skating. You may not want to pursue anything else like, choir. I tried new things in the past and it's kind of sucked for me, so you don't want to, you lose that confidence. And then, like you said, social. Usually when you do try new things, there's other people trying it as well, but you just kind of single yourself out. Yeah,
and then you start repeating the mindset, right?
Yep.
You'll start, every time I try something new,
yep.
What's the response you're getting in your head? You're getting in, I fail, I feel embarrassed, and then you stop trying new things, and then you get really comfortable. You develop this comfort zone, and then when you don't break out of it, you become more and more fearful of breaking out of it, and you go down this long, feedback loop, right, where you're like, oh, I'm an idiot, and then you start talking bad about yourself in your own head, right? And we call that the feedback loop from hell. That's from a book called How to Not Give an F. Actually, it's a great book. Y'all should check it out in the description on Amazon. We do get a kickback if you end up buying the book, so it's a really good one. Check it out. Support the channel. But the feedback loop from hell is this self-destructive thing that pretty much everybody goes through. I've done the same thing where you're like, oh, I made a mistake. Oh, I'm mad at myself for making a mistake. I'm mad at myself for being mad at myself for making the mistake. Mad at myself for being mad at myself for being mad at myself. Now I'm mad at myself again, and you just keep doing it over and over and over. And then what you do is you just stop believing in yourself, right? And so a growth mindset is this idea that you can learn, right? Yeah. You can learn, you can develop yourself, and if you have this growth mindset, right, the belief that leaders aren't born, they're made. It's a learned behavior. A lot of people believe that you're fixed, you have talent that you're born with or not. And if you believe that is incorrect. I watched a video, and maybe we can put that video. Let me look up this video really quick. Have you seen the video of Ed Sheeran where he's playing a video of him singing like 10 years ago?
Maybe a snippet of it. I haven't seen the full thing.
Bad voice before. This is awesome because I really like Ed Sheeran. He's like my favorite artist. Comment below if he's your favorite artist. But here's a little short from him talking about it. So we'll play that clip really quick. This is a great example.
When people go, oh, you're so talented. You were born with natural talent. I'm like, no. have a listen to this. Right. This is the.
Has this been played in public before?
No.
Okay, so this
this is
an exclusive Ed Sheeran when he was shit, basically.
Yeah, basically all I'm saying is when people say artists are born with talent, you're not. You have to really learn and really practice. This is me playing guitar and singing. I'm going to put it into my mic like this.
It's okay so far.
This starts off. It has gone. Hold me. Oh. and then.
That's hilarious.
So yeah. Obviously didn't stop.
Yeah, right. So basically he sucked, okay, and then he got really, really good because he's like, I love this. I want to be good at this because, for Ed Sheeran, like a lot of his songs are, about his life and emotional and, it's pretty relatable, right? So imagine if Ed Sheeran had given up when he was a bad singer, right? Because that was really bad.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. It's the same thing, Michael Jordan got kicked off his high school basketball team.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean.
Abraham Lincoln failed to be elected like 13 times before he got elected to like being a senator or something. So the big thing is when you get in your head, because everyone goes through this, is you're growing up, right? You're trying to figure out where you're at in life. You're comparing yourself to everybody. You feel like you should be at a certain place, but you're not there yet. And then you're like, wow, you have all these past failures because you're brand new at everything that you ever do when you're young. You're trying all these new things, right? And if you're thinking about what you're confident about currently, it's probably things you've been doing for years and years and years. Yeah. You probably feel great doing those things. You probably get a lot of joy from doing that. For me, soccer, that makes me feel great to go do that. Well, I've done it since I was 4. Duh. Yeah. Right. And so the more you do something, the more enjoyable it's going to be. I mean, if you go back to my first videos on YouTube, they suck. Some of these still suck. I don't know why people watch these right now. Honestly, we're
getting through them.
We're going off from the hip right now. We're spraying with a shotgun, and we're hoping something hits because we care. We really care about young people because we've gone through this and we just know how good it feels to believe in yourself. And when I'm recruiting for the Southwestern internship, back in just last year and years before for 7 years, it's just you always meet these people where they really they struggle with that personal belief. And that was the only reason people would not go do this job, because they really didn't believe in themselves. Not that it wouldn't work out, not that it was the company. They just didn't believe that it was going to work out for them. Yeah. Why would something work out for other people and not you? Right? That's a question I think that's worth asking about yourself. And if you're thinking, well, they can do it, but I can't, that really just reflects, this is just where you're at, just reflects maybe you don't believe in yourself, and you've got to accept that to change it, right? Yeah, I think that's where this next part comes in about actually breaking your belief, so just for that self-destructive behavior, everyone starts off as terrible. Yeah. Accept it. Like my manager, my first summer selling books was like, I'd get frustrated when someone would tell me no because they needed their wife to buy something or something, right? And I'd get frustrated for weeks. And he was like, Joe, that's going to happen tomorrow. Why are you getting all frustrated about it? And it clicked. I was like, oh. And then it really never bothered me after that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to set your expectations based on if you're looking at Ed Sheeran or if you're looking at Michael Jordan, what they're at now, and you don't realize. I think it's really cool nowadays. People are being more open and honest about how bad they were and how far they've come. And that just kind of makes it more relatable as far as people being able to understand that they're going to be bad.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So if you can get through that dip of embarrassment, you'll come on the other side and you'll actually get good at stuff. So all right, let's run into some of that added value content. How do you break your belief barriers? What are some things that you can actually do? What are some examples of doing that? How does it feel? So we'll run through that. Yeah. Okay, so when we're breaking belief barriers, the question we're trying to answer right now is, why do we limit ourselves? How does that happen, right? We've really talked a lot about that. Sometimes it's comparison. You're comparing yourself to someone else, his skill level, and therefore you're like, well, they're so good, there's no way I could do that. Yeah. Right? So we're asking those questions where, we base our future success on our past failures, which is illogical because our future success is based on the idea that we will change and grow, which are the things we are best at, we have already done and proven before. So when you're setting goals and when you're trying to break belief barriers, you have to factor in that you're going to learn and you're going to change, right? And that's what you've got got to believe, because if you rationalize, if you overthink it, if you're like, oh, well, that'll never work for me, you're absolutely right, because you turn your brain off, right? So what you've got to get in this mindset of is consistency, right? Pushing yourself even when you fail, keeping going, keeping the pressure on even when you fail, realizing there's going to be embarrassment, realizing that you're going to feel like crap, but at the end, you're going to feel amazing because you did it.
Yeah, I feel like setting yourself up with the expectations, prepare for the worst, hope for the best.
Yeah, absolutely. How many people have you heard that would say, oh, you know what? I tried my best and I regret it.
No, not a common phrase.
Right? Well, where people feel regret is when they didn't try their best. And so if you're actually giving it your all at something, you will accomplish that. You will increase your potential. You will increase your belief barriers, right? Because again, what's possible in the future, right? Your potential, it's not based on your past. It's based on what you can develop and how you can grow. So one of those things you could do is you really just pick something. You just need to prove it for yourself. You need to believe it, right? So find one thing that you need to focus on for the next 21 days. Make it a habit, right? 21 days to build a habit. And when it's a habit, it's stored in a different part of your brain. You don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
It just happens. Your body just kind of does it. Instinct, basically, right? And obviously, if you have some negative ones, you can do some instinctually negative things, right? Like waking up late, or not getting out of bed at your alarm, or sleeping past midnight, which are all really a huge waste of time. There's a Jordan Peterson video that was all about, if you waste a few hours every day, or 20 minutes, or how people spend 4 hours on YouTube a day on their phones. It ends up being like 20 hours a week during the work week. If you multiply that by, a year, it's thousands of hours that people are just wasting in their life, right? And if your time was worth, $50 an hour, it's like $50,000 you're throwing down the toilet
every year,
literally by just being on your phone, watching a bunch of nonsense that you don't actually care about. Isn't that crazy?
Self-destructive.
It's self-destructive, right? It's these things, right? We get in these habits, right? So some of the things that would be probably helpful for you, what I would say is, if you don't go to the gym, you don't work out, you don't go on a walk, you don't exercise, do that for 20 minutes a day for the next 21 days and see how you feel. And if you're not a gym person, you'll probably feel more like a gym person, right? If you're not somebody who exercises, you're probably going to identify someone who's exercising, because your habits determine your identity, right? And so when you're setting goals for the future and you're trying to break these belief barriers, all it is building habits, and they will break these belief barriers, right? If you go record a podcast every week for the next 21 weeks, you will identify as a podcaster. Right? Yeah, I'm a podcaster, man. Like, I've got podcasts, right? Yeah, that's what you do, right? Another one, reading a good book in the morning. Leaders are readers, and if you're not reading, you're crazy, because there's all of this incredible information of what you want to do in your life, probably written in a book somewhere. So if you want to be a financial analyst, someone's done that. If you want to be a doctor, someone's done that before. They've written books on how to be successful, and by not reading, it's just pure mental laziness, right? It's like our brains going to those habitual things that are comfortable, right? Another thing you do is just finish your homework before 5.
It's easy.
It's an ask.
It's easy, but
That's an ask.
No, that one's easy to.
Yeah. I mean, if you did, right? I mean, how would you feel? Like, imagine every night, all you have to do is nothing, because you did everything you needed to be productive before 5.
I remember when I was in school, I set an alarm. It was like 5 p.m. and I was like, everything should be done by now. Never did it. I wish, man, the time I would have had.
Oh my gosh.
The extra time I would have had, man.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in college right now or high school, you have the best networking opportunity of anyone on the planet almost. I mean, you can literally do almost anything that has to do with people. Like, you can start a YouTube channel so easily, because you can just talk to a million people and they'd all love like what you're doing. Easy. It's like, and it's so funny, because when you're there, you're just like going out or whatever. You're like wasting time.
Yeah.
And if you were smart with it, you could make college and high school really, really, really worthwhile, especially for the amount of money and time that you're putting in for some of those things, right?
Yeah. It's cool to look back at that with hindsight of like, man, all the time wasted. Could have been networking.
Yeah.
Could have been.
Oh my gosh, yeah, right? Complaining about like, this assignment doesn't matter. It's like, well, yeah, maybe the assignment doesn't matter, but look where you're at.
Yeah.
Look where you're at. Do the assignment, get it done, and go network and build something and utilize the relationships, right?
Maybe it's something like college, think about you're paying for that. Why not get the most out of it?
Yeah, maximize it, right? Yeah, this guy over here didn't get his homework done.
It got done.
He's homeschooled, all right? He does homework at midnight.
Strict.
Another idea is go to sleep by 10 p.m. Go to sleep by 10 p.m. for the next 21 days. See how you feel. You probably feel amazing. You would probably feel amazing. Sleep, oh my gosh, yeah.
Underrated.
You literally will get so much more done in your day, you'll be blown away, because you'll just be alert, I mean, literally, you can do things inefficiently or you can do them efficiently. Sometimes it takes you 8 hours to do something. If you're rested, it takes you like 3, So if you just like go to sleep.
That's an odd.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
But rest,
rest is a huge deal. Go to sleep. Another one, guitar hobby, just do that once a day for 21 days. See how you feel at the end. Again, your confidence is going to be built. Okay.
You know, one thing I've heard of becoming someone successful is, you know, think of who you want to be. Think of like an example of who you want to be that is successful. And then think of little habits they do. And then write down those habits and then start doing those habits and working those in. Mm-hmm. You know, if somebody, you want to be, like I said, financial analyst, they probably read pretty often. They probably go to bed early. They probably get their workouts in.
Yep.
So yeah, just writing those down and then doing one by one until, you know, 21 days on one, 21 days on another, 21 days on another. Next thing you know, you're doing everything that successful character is doing, and then eventually it's going to fall into place where you become that.
Absolutely. So just bringing this all together, right? So avoid the self-destructive idea of limiting your potential by living in the past, right? Don't base your future success or what you're capable of based on your first try, based on your try that you've done, haven't done something for 2 years or whatever. You can learn anything you put your mind to. And if you have that mindset of growth where you are going to conquer things and you're going to learn things, and no matter how long it takes to learn, you're going to push through, there's nothing that you can't do. There's nothing you can't do. There's just usually a point where people quit, and you just have to go beyond the point. If you can just get through that point, right, your potential for success in this world is going to be astronomical. And that's how you break belief barriers. You just keep going. You consistently keep trying. Oh, perfect. Time for bed. That's asleep. Mr. Sandman.
You were saying.
Right? So you want to, consistency, right? If you can break through that wall where most people quit, you will be successful in whatever field that you're trying to be successful in. And that's how you break your belief barriers, is through good habits. So 21 days, that's my challenge to you. Our challenge to you is do something for 21 days. Do something for 21 days. For me, I'm reading a book every day. That's what I'm doing. I've been reading a book. You're going to read a book 21 days? All right, that's a challenge. So we will probably talk about a book in 21 days that we finally hopefully finished, right? Which would be good. So my favorite books are in the description below. If you are going to buy some of those different books, we'll have a YouTube video on each one of them at some point. But they're my favorite personal development books. We do get a kickback on the channel. That helps out a lot. So we can keep making content like this and maybe sometime do it full time in the future. You know, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. That helps us grow. Comment below if you like this content or if you have ideas or questions. We are all about making content for you guys. That's actually why we made this video, was because people wanted more mindset type stuff. So I really, really hope this is helpful, enjoyable, somewhat entertaining, and comedic. If you are interested in being more successful in your 20s, maximizing your college years, go ahead and subscribe, follow us on the podcast as well, which will be in the description below. Thanks so much.